Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Whenever you're listening to this is another episode of Absurdly Aquarian. I'm Sophie, and today I'm joined with what's probably my most long-term friend ever. It's Marcella.
Yay!
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 Today we're going to be introducing you to a topic that initially started this podcast. Fucking Christ. Like, I've never properly talked about astrology, but because this whole season is talking about things that increase your happiness and make you find more purpose and love and gratification and satisfaction in your life, I think it goes without saying that we're going to have to do an episode about astrology because
Definitely.
that's what started everything for us, didn't it?
Damn, yes it did.
I mean, first of all, I think it's worthwhile talking about what astrology actually is, because I think a lot of people see it as like this hoo-ha cult of
yeah, definitely.
people like
Especially guys.
Yeah, like all these hippies like getting into weird substances like,
Yeah,
oh my god, you're talking about astrology.
They think we'd be dancing around in the forest with like white dresses on during full moon.
Which we may well be.
Exactly. It's a cult, people.
That full moon energy is like needs to be cultivated, but I think astrology is much more simple than that.
It is.
I've actually found out that in Babylonian times, people started like seeing astronomy, which is the study of the stars, and astrology, which is the study of the impact of the stars on us. They like went hand in hand. Everyone who was an astronomer was also an astrologer, without question. And it was not until medieval times, I believe, that... No, I think even longer. I think, if I read it correctly, it was after the French Revolution that people were like, oh no, this is all esoteric stuff. Only astronomy is benefiting us in any way. Astrology, go to fuck.
That's why they classified astrology as a sort of science.
Yeah. Which, if you're a diehard scientist, you may think that, but if it helps me, it helps me, and it's impacted my life hugely.
Yes, definitely.
Do you want to talk a little bit about how we got into astrology?
Oh my god, I don't even remember when I started getting into astrology. Now I have to think.
Oh my god, it's been so long.
It's been so long. No, definitely for the at least past 2 years of my life, I've been definitely doing it like excessively.
Yeah.
Definitely. Been trying to like completely understand like all of the different types of signs, all of the different planets. Been still trying to get around the different meanings of houses and the different like meanings of how the sign falls in grades into your birth chart.
Yeah, there's
and it's
loads.
So complicated.
There's loads.
But I've always kind of believed in astrology because especially like just when I knew like sun signs existed. Now we just have a sun sign. For me, it's Libra.
Yes.
Yes.
For me, it's Aquarius, which...
Obviously. Obviously. And I always like, especially like on Instagram, like enjoyed those like meme accounts when it came to like astrology, being like, yeah, that's like typical Libra things.
Yeah.
Like looking at that and like definitely like getting into it. But that entire topic has just always interested me. I've always been interested in astrology. Maybe because I've always been interested in like the universe as such.
Yeah.
And I've always found it like so interesting. And then at one point I just switched to astrology.
Yeah. I think for me, it really started with my granny. Because she, although I wouldn't say she's the most spiritual person, but she's always liked astrology to... not necessarily compartmentalize people, but to understand people better.
Yeah.
And she's always like, whenever she was talking to me about her friends or people she's met, she would say things like, oh, but that's to be expected. Like, he's a Virgo, so of course he would act this way.
That's like me, obviously. Virgo men.
Virgo men. Virgo. I'm sorry if you're a Virgo man. Like, he might be wonderful and we just don't know, but your sign hasn't done as much good.
No, especially when you talk to them about astrology.
Yeah.
I had that. And he was like, no, I'm a man of science. And I was like, well, it's pseudoscience.
Yeah, but also, if you, like, even if you come from a scientific background, you should be able to realize that astrology really is an empiric study. It's a study of experiences people have had. Because it's gone on for so long, over time, things balance each other out, and you get a pretty good average of what people are like.
Definitely.
Because if you've ever met people in your life, which hopefully you have.
No, they're all loners.
If you've had a life, you'll notice that a lot of people tend to have qualities that are pretty similar. You run into the same kinds of people relatively often, especially once you start traveling. You find people that have the same vibe about them everywhere.
Yeah.
And at least for me, it's been a constant experience of every single time I found someone who reminded me of someone, they have the same sun sign. They just always had. And the more I started reading into it, the more examples I found in my life that just made me more sure that it's a thing and like it works.
Yeah.
And I think even if you don't take it as something mystical and magical, which I think you should.
I do. Because
magic is wonderful, and magic makes us feel more connected to life and the universe. Think about it. Like, if you scroll through your phone all day long, what ends up happening is you lose sight of the reality of life. Like, you're so disconnected from what's actually going on in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And when you take a moment with astrology or any other method that works for you and, like, have a look into yourself, it makes you feel like you're more alive again.
Definitely. I love it.
Yeah.
Even, like, reading about it. I could read about it for hours.
Oh, see, like, for me, it's explaining people's charts to them. And you see how their faces light up. And you tap all the right points.
And they're actually like, oh, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I know.
And I'm like, yes, it does make sense.
Yes.
That's why I love it.
Thank you, finally.
How did astrology change your life? Like,
oh, it made me understand myself better.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for one, especially, like, as soon as I, like, found out, like, all of the different signs in my birth chart and, like, started studying them and, like, their meanings, and then with the planet and then, like, the house, and it's, like, it makes sense. And I was, like, reading it, and, like, one night I was, like, damn, I understood myself. Like, finally I know who the fuck I am. Because, like, all of those, you know, those kind of people who, like, especially, like, after school, do like a work and travel, or just like an au pair to like hi hello.
I was in New Zealand, guys.
Well, me
character forming experiences.
But like a lot of people like to do that to like find themselves,
and
it's like, for me it was astrology to make me find myself.
Yeah.
Because then finally, like, I understood like why I'm feeling special things, especially as soon as I found out my moon sign, and I was like, oh, now it makes sense, bitches.
Oh, yes.
Like, yeah, now I know why I'm an emotional little, unavailable little being.
I know. See, that's another subject that I think we can get into in a little bit more depth later on in the episode. Because I think a lot of people, like, compartmentalize astrology into this one, like, weird stuff where, like, your sun sign says everything about you. And that's not actually true. We can talk about it in a little bit more depth. Because it goes so much deeper than that. And as soon as you start, like, realizing all the facets that it has, the more you feel like it actually captures who you are. Yay! We love that. We love it. Yeah. But for me personally, I think I've always, because I'm an Aquarius, I think too much. I'm actually reading a book right now.
Essence.
Hashtag air sign energy. I'm actually reading a book right now on how identifying too much with your mind has led us into unhappiness. If you want to check that out, it's called The Power of Now, and it is so interesting and so insightful. I've only read the first few pages and it's already had such an impact. But when I discovered astrology and all of the different planets that make up my entire birth chart and a snapshot of how I came into this world, what qualities I brought with me, because obviously experiences form you, and the people you're around form you and whatnot. But I fully believe that you come into this world as a complete being, and then you're being formed from there. But to understand kind of the basics of your nature is really helpful. And I know quite a few Aquarians. I attract them for some odd reason.
I follow you everywhere. You just don't know it.
Stalker! No, it's true though. Everywhere not that I'm a stalker. I'm here to spit out that coffee now. I've got fucking cream carpet, you bitch, you better don't.
Don't worry.
But it's true. Everywhere I go, I seem to encounter Aquarians everywhere. In school, they were always bulking around me. All of my friends were Aquarians or Capricorns. And my granny's an Aquarius, my father's an Aquarius. Now a huge part of my friend circle are Aquarians.
Even mine. I have so many Aquarius friends.
It's now the Sagittarius that keep following me everywhere. I've been making so many new Sagittarius friends, which, by the way...
Damn those Sags.
When I was doing my rating of all the signs, which you should definitely go check out because it's fun, I think.
I think.
Because my opinions matter.
What I say is right.
Yes, I speak the truth. But I didn't know a lot of Sagittarians. I only had one experience with a Sagittarius guy, which was fine enough, but not nothing mind-blowing. And now all of a sudden I keep attracting them so much. Every new person who comes into my life seems to be a Sagittarius.
Damn.
And can I just say I've never had a better time. So
they are so much fun.
Oh
they
my
are
god.
So much fun.
Oh my god.
One of my really good friends also is a Sagittarius.
Yeah.
Love spending time with him.
I know.
Always fun. And a couple of people in the pub as well that I get along with really good.
Yeah.
They're also Sagittarius. When I found that out, I was like, yeah, it makes sense now.
Yeah.
That's why we vibing so good.
That's why we vibing.
Yes.
Yay.
Air and fire signs, just chaotic energy.
I know.
We love it.
It is so nice because they're so lively and they kind of, at least for me, they really light me up. I feel like I get more talkative. I start using my hands everywhere.
That's what I do on a daily basis anyway.
Yes. But they just spark something in me where I'm like, yes, I can go do this. I can be a huge adventurer. Let's go do fun things.
Yes, that part, adventurer, definitely.
Yes. Anyway, I lost my point, but I had fun in the process, and that's all that matters because my opinions matter.
That's what happens when both of us get into conversation. We start with one point, and then at the end we switch with between 5 different conversations.
Yeah, and
we have no idea of the original plot. It just
feels
going on from there.
We're rolling with it. We're going with the vibes.
We're going with the flow.
Going with the flow. Going with the flow.
Good that nobody can see us right now. Doing the flow, actually.
Doing the flow. But I felt like... Oh, I know what my original point was. Ooh. Yes. Being an Aquarius, but also feeling this huge need for security and comfort and a sense of holding things together. And then I discovered that, long and behold, my Moon and Venus sign are in Capricorn. And all of a sudden, things just clicked. Because
boom, 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 it's boom, like boom. That little light bulb.
Yeah, it's like that
on
light
the top
bulb.
of your head just went bing. You found out who you are.
Hi. Bitch, guess what?
New level unlocked.
Ding. And I just found out, I think from that, I was able to accept myself a lot more. Because I never felt like I properly fit in anywhere. A very Aquarian thing to think. Because yes. But it just, first of all, I think if you take all the like esoteric, mystical, magical stuff out of it, even just looking up statements about yourself and then being able to assess whether that is accurate or is not accurate, it makes you think about yourself in like a much deeper way.
Yeah.
And I think that really helps you in a life where we're so distracted from who we are. Like, we're constantly getting all these inputs, all these...
Especially due to, like, social media.
Yeah, like, all these information, like, just getting plopped onto you. And you never take a moment to really think about who you are. Danny was saying this earlier to me, my boyfriend. He was like, I've never really thought about who I actually am. And I was like, well, if you had practiced astrology, you would have.
Yeah, see?
Yes. And
you know. So, get that book.
Get that book.
And get your reading.
But in that sense, I think astrology has hugely changed my life.
Yeah.
And I'd like to give a little bit of an insight, maybe, on even if you don't feel like the mystical, magical side is for you, if you don't feel ready to embrace that yet.
Like we do.
Wearing crystals and all that. Yeah.
Literally.
Literally everywhere. You might find a little bit of comfort in having an outlet to think about yourself. I mean, the whole, like, personality types, ETNY? No. I think I'm an
I have it written
ENFJ?
somewhere. Yeah.
I think.
I have it written somewhere. I don't know.
Even that just gives you pointers of who you are. And finding out who you are helps you to then eventually let go of who you are and embrace the whole, the collective, the entire universe, everyone at once.
Yeah.
Because we are all one. And that's why you should be happy and live your life, because the chances of you being alive is, I think, I've heard like 1 in 50 trillion or something, because
it's so small.
All of your ancestors had to meet for you, like for your parents to meet.
I literally read that the other day, where it was like, well, you need 2 parents to be born, and they each need 2 parents, and they each need 2 parents. And it just kept on going. And at the end, it was just like around like 16,000 like ancestors, like just 12 grades back.
Yeah.
And I was like...
But then at the same time...
Damn.
Like, even after your parents meet, it doesn't stop there. They have to fall in love, like, have sex. Even though we don't like to think about this. But the chances of, like... Sorry to go very, like... TMI biological, but the chances of your dad's sperm reaching your mom's egg to create who then is you is so slim.
She's a runner, she's a track star. I won the battle.
Damn right, bitch.
Damn.
We be fighting out here.
Yeah.
The chances are so slim that you as a person are alive now, that you don't have fucking time to spend on things that don't make you happy. You don't have time to do that job.
Exactly.
You've only got, 80, 90 years max of beautiful being on this planet. And then you've got this huge, like, all these things that aligned for you to be here. And you want to be working at McDonald's? Bro, what?
Preach it, sister.
Preach it.
Preach it.
What's your favorite aspect of astrology?
Ooh.
What do you like the most?
That's a good question. I don't know. I like the mystical, magical part behind it, though.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that one. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, I like to, combine astrology with spirituality.
Yeah. Because you're into witchcraft.
Yeah, I'm into witchy stuff.
You like the witchy stuff.
I like the witchy stuff. I'm like the weird one in the group. I'm the witchy mom.
Yeah, but then again, I think we're a weird group anyway.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't even, have that, group.
Mm-hmm.
Other people have, their friends group. I just have, specific people.
Same.
And then, they're my group of people, but I don't hang out with all of them at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm their witchy mum.
Yes.
I take care of everyone.
And I'm, the spiritual little, yogi dude. I'm the yogi dude!
Yogi the dude.
I'm yogi the dude. I think my favorite aspect of astrology is... I think Jupiter sign. I've been really getting into Jupiter signs.
Oh,
so
I did that with Lilith signs the other time. But that's the more you get into astrology, then you can go to these kind of signs.
Yeah.
But first you have to even understand the just normal planets
just the
and
basic
signs.
day-to-day stuff.
But it's so because it also is supposed to tell you your kinks and stuff like that. And I was like, that is so interesting to know.
Oh. And then what's kings?
Kinks.
Oh,
freaky...
kings! I was like, oh, kings! Tell me more about kings.
No.
Give me that royalty.
No, the freaky kind of shit.
Oh, shit.
So
what are your kinks?
I have no idea yet because I'm still trying to read into it. And I feel especially because the Lilith sign has maybe not that much research behind it yet.
Yeah, I think not a lot of people get into it. Because I think, aren't both of ours in Sagittarius?
Yeah. I feel it's also not a generational thing, but I think the sign stays in that planet for a long time.
Yeah.
Not planet, but what I mean.
The planet stays in the sign.
Yeah, for a long time. But not Neptune and
Uranus.
That stays in there for a generation.
Mm-hmm.
That's why that's also so interesting to know, because I feel so many people in our generation are drawn to spiritual astrology kind of stuff, which I really enjoy, because it's I'm not the only weird one. It's so many people fancy that kind of stuff. It's because we have Aquarius in both of those signs.
Yeah, and we're very non-conformist.
Yeah.
So for all of you out there who maybe don't know what we've been rambling on about for the past 5 minutes, astrology doesn't stop with your sun sign. So your sun sign is what you would normally refer to as your zodiac sign. For example, Marcella's a Libra, I'm an Aquarius.
Exactly.
That's and that the sun sign is kind of the center, the basic foundation of your character. Those are the traits that other people will notice in you the most. Those are the traits that you probably identify with the most, unless you either on a cusp or
a stellium.
You have a stellium somewhere. Don't worry, we will slowly get into this. So
everybody's what is she talking about?
Everyone's gonna be what the fuck?
Well, I get zodiac.
Get those books out, people. So it all starts with your sun sign, but at the time that you're born, obviously all the planets of our solar system are in a specific sign.
Exactly.
So what happens is, if you know what day you're born, if you know where you're born, you're already in the know. All you need to do is look up your birth chart. You can do that online easily. Just Google it. Honestly, what does Google not tell you these days? All you need to do is put that shit into Google and see what comes up, and it will tell you all the different planets and what star signs they were in on the day you were born, and then later on we can get into your rising sign, which you would need your birth time for. But it's not all that important. Start with the basics. So every single planet relates to an aspect of your personality.
Yeah. moon sign, for example, which is like one of the big three.
Yeah.
The other one is rising, but we'll get into that later. But the moon sign basically controls all your feelings.
Yeah,
your emotions.
Emotions, your comfort zone, just your security blanket.
Yeah.
And it, depending on what sign it falls into, it might make you quite different from other people in...
How you deal with emotions, for example.
In your zodiac, like your sun sign. Take me as an example. I am an Aquarius, so I should be emotionally detached. I should be quite like a lively, happy, like live into the day kind of person. But because I've got Capricorn, which is a more structured, more down to earth, more stern sign as my moon sign, it means that I've got a lot more aspects of that in my personality. So if you compare me to other Aquarians, I might seem quite like stable and secure to you.
Yeah.
Versus like airy, flimsy, usual Aquarians.
Yeah. We know that air energy.
Air energy.
Yeah. We love that.
We love it.
Yeah. I mean, my moon sign is in Cancer.
Yeah.
Which makes me very emotional and sensitive.
Yes, very emotional.
Because it's the best thing, because well, people always say like Libras are like really like put together, and like those flirty kind of types.
Yeah,
but also quite passive aggressive.
Oh yes,
that's what a lot of people forget when it comes to Libras. They're like, oh, they're like all sunshine and like stuff like that. And I'm like,
I know.
No, we are very passive aggressive, and we know that. And then with my Cancer moon, just makes me passive aggressive sensitive.
Yes.
So as soon as like anything happens, I'm like, and then I'm like, ooh, it's just. Oh.
Yeah, you switch from a very like bad bitch attitude to
a sobbing little baby in like
yes,
seconds.
So quickly.
But I can switch back so fast again. It's just, you know, when you're like caught up in your emotions at that point, and then I'm like, I just want to cry. I want to like loaf up in my bed and just cry. And then like 2 seconds later, I'm like, no, I'm a bad bitch.
Yeah.
And then 2 seconds after that, I'm like, a spoon fell down. I'm like, no, why does this keep happening to me? But also like do that, basically Cancer also rules the moon.
Yeah.
It's actually a really good moon sign to have.
So it's amplified.
Yeah.
So it's really, really strong.
Yeah.
Yes. So going a little bit further on this, I don't think we have to explain everything, because once you find out for yourself, your world is gonna light up.
I mean, there's also like a lot of like really good books and like trustful internet websites.
Yes.
Internet websites. Okay.
Internet websites.
Internet websites.
Okay, Marcella.
We're getting professional.
There is hugely helpful internet websites to discover.
That literally explain like the different types of meanings of planets and with your specific sign in it really well. Like there's not even like, you don't have to like go around like me and read like 5 or 6 different books and Google for like 10 hours. You could do that, but it also just helps if you find like a really good book and like it is easy explained, because I have one that is really easy explained. Like it first of all like explains to you like all of the signs, like all of the zodiac signs, and then after that is done, it goes into the different planets, and then it always has like the signs at the end, and it like basically just says like the main characteristics of like what that sign is like in that planet, which is really easy to understand for people who just get into it. Yeah.
I've got a really good book suggestion for everyone who, after this podcast, maybe feels called to explore a little bit further. Go read The Stars Within Us. It's such a good book. It's really good for any beginners who maybe feel a little bit overwhelmed with like how huge this topic really is. And it really provides good basics. So if you search that up, it's also very beautiful, and it's got like loads of like pretty drawings and illustrations.
Not me going for aesthetics as well when it comes to those kind of books.
Libra!
Like literally, like all of my books to any spiritual topic, it's like aesthetically pleasing for the eye as well.
Yes.
And informative, but aesthetically pleasing from the outside and the inside, so it looks good.
Yes.
With all of my little crystals.
Because that's what makes you happy.
Yes. Aesthetic things.
Aesthetic things. Aesthetic things.
Yay!
But I think starting from there, discovering... I'm starting to stutter for no reason. Discovering.
Mercury retrograde. Everybody's like, oh god. Honestly, what are you talking about at this point? It's like, oh, I followed so well. And then we get into the topic and they're like, what?
It's because we've been doing this for a while now. And obviously we've got each other to relate to. So you find out something that I didn't know before. And then you start like bombarding me with all these articles. And then I start reading up on it. And then I discover something that you didn't know. And I start bombarding you with articles.
We love it.
And that's how we learn.
Yeah. But don't take TikTok as your only source to learn about astrology, people.
No, because it's too generic.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, for the past, 7 months during lockdown, I've been spending so much time on TikTok. And, I have so many TikToks that are, about astrology and, just spirituality and, general. And there's, also,
no
so
one likes
much,
Aquarius.
No, I landed on the side that nobody likes Libras. There's so much Libra hate. I'm like, why do you hate us that much? We didn't do nothing. Yeah. It's not my fault that you thought I was flirting with you and I was just being nice.
Yeah.
That's
Sorry.
Point taken. But, no, the thing is, there's so many people, saying, those kind of things. And it's yeah, it could be right, but also, read about it in books and, just do your own research and not just base your entire, opinion on different signs just based on TikTok, because there's also a lot of opinions of those people going into it as well. If they don't like a specific sign, they will always make it negative.
Yeah. And this is the thing. Every single star sign can play out either negatively or positively. Take, for example, our much hated Virgo men. Yeah. So Virgo is actually a sign that can be very analytical, very perfectionistic. They can be
very perfectionistic.
Yeah, which can either be a really good thing or a really bad thing. And unfortunately, I think we've both had experiences with that have been pretty negative. But it can be a sign of people who love to serve, who are very into health, who are they're basically I don't want to say servant because that sounds like they're all bitches, but they're
well, technically no.
A lot of healthcare professionals are Virgos. They're very interested in all things home and health and taking care of yourself and stuff.
Family oriented.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Which it can be a beautiful, wonderful thing. So instead of basing your opinions on astrology on people's personal opinion, because this is what I think should be more common. If you make astrology videos, put out there what your sign is, because it's going to be your perception of the other signs based on who you are. And if you've got loads of, I don't know, cancers making astrology videos, chances are they're not really going to vibe with Aquarians.
No.
Because they're very different energies, which can mix, but most of the time, on average, it doesn't. So if you're looking to get into astrology and maybe widen your horizon a little bit, or just have a little bit of fun, because life is meant to be fun.
And astrology is also not just the analytical part of getting to know you or understanding others and just going into the research part and just studying it. It's also just fun.
Yeah.
You can have so much fun just being yeah. I mean, obviously, you're a Gemini.
Yeah.
Two-faced fucking Gemini. Even though they're not that two-faced as people put them.
No.
Most Geminis that I know aren't that two-faced.
No. At all. Because they're usually quite honest. What I find is that they've got two very distinct personalities. You've met my mom. She's a Gemini. She's the loveliest person you'll ever meet. But her in a fight, oh bro, she'd be a different person though.
Yeah.
But even if you're just waking up to spirituality and slowly getting into, I think astrology is kind of the gateway into all things spirituality, because
Even though I was interested in spirituality before I really got into astrology. But I feel like it all kind of... I see that with people that like start getting into astrology, like on social media, for example. And then like all of a sudden they also start getting into spirituality. Because like at one point they see that. Yeah. And then they want to experience all of the other things as well. They want to start aligning their chakras. They want to meditate. They want to use incense sticks. And it just all comes together at one point.
Yeah. Because I think there's so much magical, mystical, wonderful, universal stuff to be discovered.
But not like the magic like in movies. That's what a lot of people like confuse when it comes about this topic. When you like talk about like, especially when they are not really into that topic and just hear you talking about it. And they're like, oh yeah, magical stuff. And they think they are in Harry Potter. Yeah. It's like, no, I don't have a wand that makes stuff appear. It's a different kind of magic.
It's a magic within. And I think it's so sad that our generation, well, many of the generations before us actually, have reverted to a sense of life where we feel like magic is something to laugh at, or like it's comical, it's like cringy. Magic is something...
It's only allowed during Halloween times.
Exactly. When I think it does so much for you. Like, how much have we learned through these past few years of going into astrology, like
too much,
finding out how to talk to people better, how to be more open, how to be more kind, how to be more understanding.
And not even just to other people, but even yourself.
Yeah. Be less judgmental, because you know that it might just be that Mercury retrograde is acting up and people don't have bad intentions. Yes. And the more that you attract that sort of energy into your life where you expect people to be lovely and you expect that maybe they have these qualities because they've got certain signs, but that's okay. It's not that they're having a vendetta against you. It's just who they are. You start being more accepting with others and therefore attract more good things into your life.
And we love that.
Which is why you should listen to the manifestation episode that is coming up, because manifest that shit. You can have the life you want now.
We love manifesting.
Anyway, this has gone on for what I think is an ideal amount of time. Any last words? Any wisdom you can share with all my beautiful listeners?
Get into astrology, spirituality, especially if you like maybe struggle with yourself. It's a really good way of starting to love yourself and not be judgmental on yourself. That's a really good thing. I recommend that to a lot of people. Like, if you're not feeling, or you just feel like mentally drained, maybe due to lockdown.
Yes.
Because that has not been good on all of us.
No.
Nope. Or uni.
Collective consciousness. We've all experienced trauma at the same time. So the vibration overall is low.
Yep. Mercury retrograde not making it better. Yeah. No, but it's definitely a good way of loving yourself and healing yourself within. Yeah. What a lot of people need, especially after these kind of times.
Yeah, because the more you start thinking about yourself, the more you feel called to discover yourself more. The more you can identify areas where you might have wounds or need healing, and the happier you'll be for it.
Yes.
And this is why I think everyone should practice astrology, because it makes you happier people.
Exactly.
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Have a great day. I'm sending all my love, all our light, all of our astrology wishes, and all about crystal, energy, healing, meditation stuff. Have a good day.